Hello mga KaParkland and welcome to Parkland Pinoy Tambayan where we talk about relevant issues, interesting Canadian topics, and Pinoy life in Canada. And for this episode, let's get to know one of the candidates running for the position of councillor for the upcoming municipal election here in Yorkton. So please join with me with the discussion as we understand more about her and what are her plans and goals. So without further ado, let's go. And if you haven't done it yet and you're new to my channel and you're watching us through Facebook, drop us a like, drop us a follow, share this video so that more viewers can enjoy watching. And who knows, maybe they can benefit from the show too. And if you're watching us through YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so you'll get notified once we post fresh videos for you or once we go live. Okay, and just as I have said, joining with the discussion, we have here one of the candidates running for the position of councillor for the upcoming municipal election here in Yorkton. Please welcome, joining with the discussion, we have here Lauretta Ricthie-McInnes. Good evening, Lauretta.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. And how about you?
Great. It's so exciting to be here with you today. I really appreciate this opportunity. This is my first ever podcast, so I'm kind of excited, a little bit nervous too, but that's good. It's a good sense of nervousness that'll keep me sharp.
Exactly. And I'm sure you'll be fine. And truly, it's a pleasure to have you join with the discussion for tonight. As you share to our viewers also your reasons, I'm sure you have deep reasons for running for this election, and what are your plans if you'll be elected. So I believe for this coming municipal election, we got two candidates for mayor. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, we have Mitch Hipsley and Aaron Keenley, both running for mayor.
Well, was Aaron before held a public office before or no?
Yes, Aaron was previously a member of council.
So that kind of ring the bell. Okay, good. And then besides candidates for mayor, we do have I believe 10 candidates for the position of councillor for this election, correct?
That is correct. There are 10 people who've put their name forward, but there are 6 positions on Yorkton City Council. So that's why we're going to an election.
Right. And out of the 10 candidates, I believe 4 said were incumbents, right? Or re-electionists or something like that, eh?
That's correct. Yeah, incumbents. So they already have a seat on City Council, but they are up for election again. So it's a brand new opportunity for 6 new people, perhaps, or 6 or some repeat people coming to sit on City Council.
Okay. Since you mentioned that, before we start with the discussion, I'm kind of curious now. Okay. So is there actually a term where you can hold an office and then once that term expires, you cannot run for the next term? Is there something like that too?
Not here in Saskatchewan and not in municipal politics. The legislation doesn't have a term limit put on how long somebody can hold a position.
Right.
But the elections do happen in 4-year cycles.
Okay, so 4-year cycle. So every 4 years, there's always going to be election of all 6 positions for councillors. Is that right?
That's correct. 6 positions for councillors and the 1 for mayor.
And it's all up to the councillors if they want to go for a re-election or if the people still wants to vote for them, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Good to know. So sa mga viewers po natin, I think it's good to know that those kind of ideas, because in the Philippines you can only run for such and such term, and then it expires, and then it will give way for others to run for that position too. Right?
Yeah, not as the case here in Canada.
Not in the case in Canada. Okay, good to know. Okay, I guess we can start with the discussion for tonight then. Let's start with the first question, with one of the first pressing questions from our viewers here. To start our discussion, can you share to us, Lauretta, to our viewers, a brief history of your time here in Yorkton?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've been living in Yorkton for over 30 years now. My husband and I have resided in actually his family home.
Hmm.
So before coming to live in Yorkton, I was born and raised on a farm just outside, east of Yorkton. And yeah, we lived on a multi-generational farm. I
Okay.
had grandparents and my parents and my own siblings, and we all lived on the same farmyard.
Oh, so you're a farm girl.
I am a farm girl. And
Okay.
those are some of the things, those experiences of being a farm girl, they taught me values that I hold dear to this day.
That's very nice. And how about what's your husband's name?
My husband's name is Elmer.
So Elmer. So where did you meet Elmer? Here in Yorkton?
I
In the
did.
work, or
That's an interesting story. Actually,
if you mind, if you mind asking me. I mean,
no,
I'm sure the viewers would like to know about you more up close and personal.
yeah, that's great. Sure. I don't mind telling the story. It's
Okay.
actually kind of unique.
Okay.
We have, right now in Yorkton, we have Access Communications. I don't know if you're familiar with that company,
Mhm.
but prior to being Access Communications, it was called Northeast Cable. And I was
Oh,
a
before access.
volunteer. Yeah, I was a volunteer and I did a show on Northeast Cable called Talk of the Town.
Very
And
nice.
my husband is an author and a
Mm.
historian. And so I went out to do an interview of somebody from the community who was interesting. And that's how I met my husband.
Oh,
I
that's very
interviewed him.
nice. Oh, really?
I interviewed him. Yeah, that
and
was the
then
first.
and yeah, keep going.
And yeah, so after the interview, I thought, oh, he's kind of interesting. And so I had a copy of the interview and I dropped it off for him. And then he asked me to go for coffee. And, 6 months later, we were engaged.
Oh, very nice. So the next thing after the interview was a date.
That's
I
right.
guess.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, okay. That's very nice. So, you mentioned you live in a farm, or your whole family, like your generation comes from farm. So, how long have you been here actually in Yorkton?
Living in the city of Yorkton,
Yes.
it's been over 30 years now.
It's been over 30. So, this is where
Yeah.
you actually studied and even work, but you never even thought about, you know what? How about I try my luck in a big city?
Well,
What's your thoughts on
actually,
that? Mm.
yeah, actually, after I finished high school, I graduated from Yorkton Regional High School, and I did go to University of Regina for a few years.
Oh, really? Hmm.
And then I moved back to Yorkton
Oh, after study.
after studying.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. But you never tried. You know what? How about see if I can find any good job opportunity or something like that?
Oh no, I
No.
didn't venture too far from home.
Oh, okay.
I like to stay close to home.
That's very nice. That's very nice. I like my kids also to stay close to us too. That's very nice. So, continue our discussion. What are some of your work experiences here in Yorkton, and how about sharing to our viewers also what are some of your experiences in public service?
Yeah, for sure. Well, a lot of my work experience has been in public service because
Mm.
I was employed by the Legislative Assembly. I worked for the local MLA for over 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I worked for Greg Ottenbright. He was a local MLA, and he retired earlier this year. And so my time with him come to an end. So that was one job I've had. I've also do some contract work on the side, and I have a contract right now with the SGI Driving Without Impairment program,
Mm-hmm.
and I also do some contract work with Suncrest College.
I see. So you mentioned you worked with MLA Greg Ottenbright before, right? Before he
That's correct.
retired. Okay. For how
Yeah.
many years? You said like 20 years?
No, I was
No,
actually
no.
with Greg for 17 years. But
17
prior
years.
prior to Greg, I worked for the MLA in Melville Saltcoats constituency, whose name was Bob Benrod.
Okay. Oh, okay. So a little bit of trivia for the viewers out there. How long did former MLA Greg Ottenbright held the office?
17 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he was there for 17 years. Yeah. And
Wow.
he moved through various positions within the Legislative Assembly. He was a cabinet minister. He was minister of rural and remote health.
Mhm.
He was minister of highways. He was a
I
legislative
see.
secretary
Okay.
for community-based organizations and vulnerable youth, or he liked to call it youth with potential, which is it's a very good way to frame it.
Yeah.
And he also served as the caucus whip.
Wow.
So yeah, so I was alongside of him in all of those pieces of work that he did.
Wow. Same like you. He has also like a firm, what you call this, solid experience, in public service, right?
Yes, yes.
And how about you then? Would you be able to share to our viewers too, if you have like experience in politics too? Same like Greg, or this is gonna be your first time then?
This is my second time running for city council.
Okay.
I did run in 2020, and I came in number 9 on the slate of 15. So I was pleased with that. But I always had set the goal that I will run again in 2024, which is what has brought us here today. So I have always been in the background of the politicians,
Right.
but now I've decided to take the opportunity to come to the forefront and try running and putting my name forward personally.
Okay. And before we discuss about what prompted you to join for this year's election, but before that, you mentioned before you work with SGI for what do you call that? Can you share that? For impairment,
Yeah, driving without impairment.
Driving without impairment. Yeah. Can you share more about our viewers? What do you mean when you say driving without impairment?
Right. Well, impaired driving, of course, by alcohol, by THC or other substances is an issue. And unfortunately, there are several individuals who do come into conflict with the law because of impaired driving. And one of the things that has to happen is that SGI mandates people to an educational program.
I see.
And that is my position is I coordinate the Driving Without Impairment program, and I also facilitate the actual weekend class.
Oh, I see. So you coordinate and at the same time too, you facilitate. Is it like a 4-hour class or like a 6-hour whole day class? Or
no. It's actually 14 hours.
Really?
It's over
so like
2
2 days,
days.
Like a weekend.
It is a Saturday and a Sunday.
Saturday and a Sunday. Oh. Yeah. So when you say 14 hours of all sit in, or is there's going to be like other activities too besides?
No, it's all in
class. It's all in class.
It's all in class. Yeah,
okay.
It's a lot of discussion. What typically happens during DWI is we talk and about the legal, the social, and the personal consequences of impaired driving. And we ask people to reflect on their own behaviors, to consider other aspects of impaired driving, the aspect or the perspective of somebody who's a victim, who has lost a loved one or a friend to impaired driving. And so we have a very frank and candid discussion about impaired driving in Saskatchewan.
That is correct. Okay. So besides being involved with work with the legislative assembly and with driving with without impairment, I believe you're also involved with church here in Yorkton, right? Like volunteer work here with the church. Yes.
I serve on the leadership team for the Yorkton Dream Center. We have an indoor playground called Dreamland.
Right.
And so the committee that we have is called Pastors Council. And so I have served on the Pastors Council of the Yorkton Dream Center for about 10 years now. Wow. Almost coming, not quite, no, probably about 9, coming close to 10, not quite 10.
Okay. So having said that, let's say 9 years now. So how long is Dream Center here in Yorkton, particularly in Myrtle, right? How long is Dream Center there now?
It'll actually be 10 years in the spring.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 10 years past, Kevin is the pastor there for 10 years now?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, right. Pastor Kevin and Rochelle Zawatsky.
Right, exactly. I'm sorry, I'm not really fun with the last name. So just call him Pastor Kevin. So what's the last name again?
Sawatsky.
Okay, Pastor Kevin Sawatsky. Okay. Yes. Moving on with the next question. Why do you feel you are qualified? You think, can you share to our viewers, why do you think you are qualified to represent the public as city councilor?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've done is, even though I went to university right after high school, I returned to university as an adult. And I recently completed an advanced certificate in local government administration, which gave me a greater insight into local government, to budgeting, to legislation, and just the leadership that is required to be a municipal leader. And so I have the education. And I also believe that my experience with legislative assembly and working with people is also an advantage for me to have. And that will make me a better counselor for the city of Yorkton.
Okay, I got your point. And so you said you took, is this like a 2-year course? If you mind asking?
It's a certificate program. That's correct. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you
It took me longer than 2 years though, because I did it a little bit over time.
Yeah, it's normal then, no. But did you took it here in Yorkton, or do you have to go to Regina or Saskatoon to take this, or was it online?
Yes, yeah. A lot of the courses that were part of that program were offered distance, and so I was able to do it from home.
I see. Okay, good then. So now we get now to the more concerning questions, if it's okay with you. So
Sure.
the next question would be, what issues do you feel are the most pressing or more concerning for the city of Yorkton?
Well, I've been out doing a lot of door knocking, going from door to door, talking to people, introducing myself.
Right.
I've also been attending many activities and events here in the city of Yorkton, and even going to Coffee Row, going down to Tim Hortons or going to McDonald's and just sitting and talking with people, introducing myself and having a conversation.
Right.
And the things that I hear over and over again are about public safety. And also about infrastructure and the infrastructure that we need for economic growth here in our city. So those are some of the things, the core priorities that I'm hearing from people.
Okay. So if we're gonna break it down a little bit further now, so when you say public safety, are we talking here of which is related to like rising crimes or even homelessness? What's the idea when you say public safety?
Yeah, public safety is about how safe someone feels when they're out in the community. And it's fundamental to being able to like walk down the street, go out to a playground or to a public space, to the Gallagher Center, and just also the safety of how safe you feel in your home. And so Yorkton has strong protective services, which includes our community safety officer, our firefighters, and our protective services through there. Also our CMP. Those are all part of the protective services that we have here in Yorkton. But like many communities, there are challenges. There's a crime situation that happens not only in Yorkton, it's all across Saskatchewan and Canada, in fact. And there's also many aspects to crime that compounds the situation. There's addictions, there's mental health issues, there's an unhoused population. And addressing all of these issues, it requires a collaborative approach, and there's not one answer. We can't arrest our way out of a problem. So we can't just leave it to the police. There needs to be a collaborative, comprehensive, proactive approach. And City Council does have a responsibility to ensure that every resident feels safe and supported and connected within our community. And so if people are concerned, we can't, go out at night because, of certain unsafe situations, that really prohibits the connectivity that is required to be a healthy part of our community.
Okay, then. So you think with that kind of aspect, then we're looking on strengthening some of the support system that would help, people with issues, with either be drug addiction issues or mental issues, to get involved in a positive way in the community instead of turning into crime. What do you think?
Right, exactly. Yes, instead of being a threat, I want people to be feel comfortable and feel at ease in the community. And so I believe that there's many good community-based organizations here in Yorkton, as well as faith-based organizations that do offer programming and services to individuals who are vulnerable, who have potential. Let's say it, who have potential.
Exactly.
Yeah, keep it positive, right?
Exactly.
And so, again, it's part of the the response
Mhm.
is incumbent on City Council, but
Right.
there are other organizations and just individuals, the community itself, to say, no, this is our community, and we're going to be as safe and as responsible as possible.
Okay, okay, that's good then. So, in the area of infrastructure, so when you say infrastructure, did some of the residents mention, was it more on the idea of expanding the commerce here in Yorkton, building more opportunity for businesses to expand here in Yorkton, and not even businesses, but even for residential expansion to attract more people to come work and live here in Yorkton? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's two aspects to infrastructure.
Right.
There is the maintenance of the current infrastructure that we have, the
Yes.
streets, the waterways, the sewer, the pathways, all the utilities that make Yorkton function right now.
Right.
But there's also the aspect of growing
Mhm.
that our infrastructure, increasing our streets, and having the capacity to support more businesses and economic growth
Right.
here in the city of Yorkton. And another part of that is the Yorkton Airport. There's a comment that I've heard from someone in the community that says money comes on airplanes.
Mm.
And by that, I think that companies who are looking to invest, they will often come on their company jets, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and
That
so
makes sense.
having Yorkton, with a well-functioning, serviced airport is part of our economic growth as well.
Okay. So, if elected, would this be one of your projects then, or one of your possibly planned or goals then, to have the Yorkton Airport, be strengthened or be expanded, or what's your thoughts?
Well, currently the Yorkton Airport is undergoing a project
Okay.
where they're building a new terminal building.
I
So the
see.
city has already recognized that we needed to make improvements. So, but even though there's going to be a new terminal building, there's always room for expansion.
That's
Longer runways that will bring in bigger planes.
Okay, that's good then. And you also you already mentioned some of the problems here in Yorkton, and I do believe this is not isolated with Yorkton, but even other cities and towns are experiencing this kind of recurring problems with, you mentioned before, like drug abuse problems, even mental health issues, and even rising numbers of crime, and even homelessness. So the big question is, if if you'll be elected as councillor, what will be your steps to help the municipal and even the provincial government in addressing these issues?
Well, part of addressing the issues is developing relationships. That is a crucial factor in any situation, is the relationships with other people. And recognizing, as you said, we already discussed, this isn't just an issue for Yorkton. This is province-wide and nationwide and worldwide. And so we need to be able to collaborate with other levels of government from our city. We need to collaborate with the province and with the federal government to have a strong collaborative approach to the issues that we have here. And we want to have also meaningful input from people who are in the community, that we can work together and champion opportunities to address situations that help people have a better quality of life.
Right, exactly. And so if I may ask then, these issues are serious, and like you said, it needs collaboration.
Yes.
And with that then, would you be able to share to our viewers, if you'll be able to emphasize on what experience or education you think that you have, which will make you qualify more to address these issues?
Well, that's a really good question. I appreciate the opportunity to answer that. And I have what I have been told and what I believe is a natural ability to create relationships.
Good.
And to just navigate the complexities of working with different levels of government, just getting it done. I do have a background and I have some education in project management. And so making projects come together, and more so than projects, short-term projects, having the initiatives developed into programs that will serve people. And so I also did work with Shelwyn House for a number of years.
Right, Shelwyn.
Previous to my term working with Legislative Assembly.
Right.
And I also held a contract with the Sexual Assault Services of Saskatchewan. And so through those positions, I also seen how, communities can come together to support people, and the importance of communities coming together. And again, coming down to my leadership and my education and my experience working with different levels of government, I think that I would have, dare I say, an upper hand in making things happen.
Right. And I agree with you. It's very important. It's not just being able to communicate with other people. Like you said, it requires skill to be able to communicate and have attract everybody to come in to collaborate, to help to strengthen the community. So with that, then, for our last question, what would you do to improve the transparency, between the government, the municipal government, and the public, to be able to maintain the trust between the two?
Well, my approach would be to focus on three issues or three areas. That would be clear communication, open access to information, and active community engagement. And I would prioritize, regular, straightforward communication about city projects, about budgets, about decisions that are being made, and ensure that residents have easy access to accurate and up-to-date information. I also would really like to see active participation from residents, through public consultations, through surveys and town hall meetings. And by that, foster a dialogue that would ensure that all the community voices are heard, or as many as possible are heard, and are taken into consideration when decisions are made. So I believe that, building a transparent, trustworthy relationship between the council and the community, and ensuring that residents feel informed and involved and confident about the decisions being made on their behalf will foster just a better community for everyone.
Right, I agree with you. So with the on your own, if you noticed already, how frequent do we have town hall meetings for the last, year or two? Was it like every quarter, or was it like every month? What's your
I don't know that there has been a regular consistency to town hall meetings. There have been town hall meetings, definitely.
Right. Yeah.
The other, I guess, platform that City Council right now does get information from the community is through committee works. I personally serve on 3 different committees within the City of Yorkton. I serve on the Business Improvement District. I also serve on the Public Library, and I serve on the Protective Services Committee. And so those are regular meetings where different members of council and the mayor meet and discuss issues and discuss city policies and become bylaws. And so there is input from the community at that level. But to include other people beyond those committees, I couldn't say with great accuracy just how many meetings or how frequently those meetings happen. I do know, I believe it was earlier this spring, in earlier 2024, the RCMP did have a bit of a town hall meeting here in Yorkton. So, Okay.
So, if in case you'll be elected, would you advocate then to have more a more frequent, more transparent town hall meetings with the community, just to be able to get everybody on the same page, on board on what's going on, and what progress we are now with the City of Yorkton?
Absolutely. I believe that everybody has the right as well as the responsibility to take part in the political process. And that political process isn't just about elections. That is also past the elections dates and the election times that happen, everybody needs to be involved. They need to be informed.
Right. And that's the only way we can grow as a community, if we get everybody involved on every project that we have here in the community, right?
As many as possible. Yes,
Exactly.
definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so since you mentioned a few minutes ago about the public library, can you just give us an idea? Was there any concrete news as of what's the plan will be with the public library here in Yorkton? Because there were news before that it's going to be moved to a different location, or is that going to be actually going to happen, or what's the timeline for that?
What I do know is that the outgoing council that we had, the mayor and council, they had made the commitment that the library is not going to be moved from Broadway Street West at this time. That's all that I know at this time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Good to know. So, just to let everybody know, to let our viewers know, as of now, as of the moment, as of this update, the public library will be staying at the Broadway Street, just across the McDonald's, I believe,
Yes.
right?
93 Broadway Street
90
West.
Broadway Street. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Loretta, for the nice interview that we have. Thank you very much for joining with our discussion and to be able to share to our viewers your answers on some of the important and pressing questions that we have that actually concerns our viewers. So, but before we wrap up our discussion for tonight, would you like to invite our viewers to come out and vote this coming November?
Yes, of course. I appreciate this opportunity, first off, that I had to do this podcast. As I said, this was my first ever podcast, and it has been a most delightful experience. Thank you so much. I love the conversation that I've had with you today, and I welcome opportunities to have more discussions with yourself and with other members of
Thank
the
you very
community
much.
as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so, yes, I also respectfully ask that on November the 13th, when people go out to cast their vote for municipal election, that they would consider me as one of the choices for City Council here in Yorkton.
Okay. Okay, there you have it, mga KaParkland. Miss Lauretta Ricthie-McInnes for City Councilor for the upcoming municipal election in Yorkton. That is on the 13th of November. So mark your calendar, 13th of November, go out and vote because it is your right to vote. Is that right?
It is your right and your responsibility.
Exactly. Again, thank you very much on behalf of my guest here, Loretta. Thank you very much. I'm Kier Jobert. Until next episode, stay safe, everyone, and God bless.
God bless.